Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. I am Kelli Robinson. I am the career advisor in the Matthews Center for Career Development, who works with students who are interested in education, nonprofits, and also government and policy. And I also serve as the college's pre-law advisor. So if we haven't had the chance to meet, I'm recognizing some names here from students that I've met with in the past. But if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, and any of those areas are of interest to you, please feel free to schedule an appointment with me through Handshake so we can talk about those topics. What we're here today to talk about is the Davidson and Washington program, and specifically the internship. A couple of housekeeping items. I'm going to be sharing my screen. In fact, I'll go ahead and start doing that now because I do have a presentation that I want to share with all of you. We are recording this session, so this will be available to everybody. I will send a copy to people. And you will also receive a copy of the slide deck that I'm going to be using throughout the program tonight, because there is information in the slide deck that is hyperlinked. So give me a thumbs up if somebody can give me a thumbs up that you can see the presentation. Thank you, Nina. Okay. So if you have an opportunity, can you please scan the QR code that you're seeing on your screen right now? That's going to register you as attending tonight's event. And if you are having trouble with registering, I know sometimes the Handshake QR code is a little quirky. If you're having trouble registering, just go ahead and pop your email address into the chat, and I'll be sure to grab it before we conclude tonight. And speaking of the chat, I do have a lot of information to get through in tonight's session. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, pop them in the chat. If you want to ask a question anonymously, go ahead and send it to me specifically, and I'll go ahead and ask the question on your behalf at the end. But I have a feeling that questions that you are asking, a lot of people are going to be asking as well. So here's a list of the topics that we're going to be covering in tonight's program. I'm going to go over some of the program logistics. I think many of you may have attended the information session that Dr. Bullock and Dr. Bursch held a couple of weeks ago, but if you haven't, or if you didn't, excuse me, I want to go over some of the program logistics. We're going to spend most of our time tonight talking about the internship search and resources that you can be using. I'm also going to talk a little bit about funding resources for you to know about. In addition to funding that might be available through the Davidson and Washington specific program, there are also other funding resources across campus to help offset some of the costs that you may accrue in doing an internship in Washington. And then we'll also touch a little bit on summer housing, because students are, in addition to being responsible for finding their own internships, you are responsible for securing your housing during the summer when you are in DC. So, a couple of quick things about the program logistics. So the Davidson and Washington program, this is a program that is run through the political science department. It essentially is a program where you will be spending a certain amount of time in Washington, D.C., completing a seminar that is taught by Davidson faculty, as well as completing an internship. So it is open to all current freshmen, sophomores, and juniors to apply. All majors are welcome. Even though it is housed in the political science department, it is not restricted to political science majors. And for first-year students who haven't yet declared your major, you are also welcome to apply. There is a minimum GPA of 2.5 that you will need to have once you apply to the program. The application is already live, and you do apply through Handshake. It is listed in Handshake as if it was a job. You will be uploading your resume and your completed application to that Handshake posting. And the deadline to do so is Friday, November 10th at 5 o'clock. If you have any questions regarding internship searching, I am the person who welcomes those questions. So feel free to reach out to me. I'll be talking about my availability and how to find me later. But if you have questions about the seminars, about financial aid that might be available, just about the logistics of the program in general, I do encourage you to reach out to Dr. Bursch and Dr. Bullock, who are the political science faculty members who are serving as the coordinators for this year's or the summer 2024 Davidson and Washington program. They are the two faculty who will be teaching the seminars that are being offered. Okay, so I want to jump into information about internship searching. This is information that I like to share with students. This is commonly the topics that I find myself talking about whenever I'm meeting one-on-one with students regarding Davidson and Washington. First question that I will often get is, how many internships should I be applying to when I am applying for positions? And I can't see you all, but I would imagine that there are some eyes that are getting pretty big when you're seeing that number. Applying to 30 plus positions is typically what I will tell students to aim for. Applying for multiple positions does not mean applying to 5 or 7 or 10, nor does this mean that once you apply to 30, you're done with your search and then you wait. The key is applying early and applying to many. And I like to use the number 30 as an example to show why it's so important to apply to many positions. Of the, say, 30 positions or internships that you might apply to, you may hear back either way from perhaps half of those. So now we are down to 15 internships that are active. Of those 15 internships, perhaps you may be invited for an interview for approximately half of those. So now we are down to about 7 or 8 positions. And of those 7 or 8, perhaps you will be offered a position with maybe half of those. So now we are down to 3 or 4. So that's an example of how 30 opportunities can go to 3 or 4 pretty quickly. And so that's why I encourage you to apply to many positions. Many students will also ask me, how do I keep track of everything? I feel like I'm just kind of applying to all sorts of positions here, there, everywhere. And so, yes, I do encourage students to keep track of your search. Right here, hyperlinked is a spreadsheet tracker that is available for students to use. It helps you keep track of positions that you have applied to, positions of interest, people you have reached out to for networking, etc. So it's a great spreadsheet and a great way for you to keep track of all of these internship applications and career conversations that you're seeking throughout your internship search. I encourage you to use a multi-pronged approach. Combination of looking online, combination of reaching out to people for career conversations. If you are completely looking online, you are going to be missing out on opportunities that you may not be aware of if you had career conversations with people. Conversely, there are some really cool internship opportunities that you will see posted on various organization websites, Handshake, LinkedIn, etc. So you want to do a combination of all of those particular resources when doing your search. Pay attention to where your internship that you're applying to, where is it going to be located? If you are not familiar with the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area, I encourage you to download 2 maps. I encourage you to download a map of the district area, and I encourage you to download a map of the metro system, which is the fantastic public transportation system that most people in the district will use. You want to be sure that the internship that you may be applying to is metro accessible or bus accessible or walking distance if you are most likely not going to be having a car in the district with you this summer. I really encourage people to think broadly. This is a great opportunity for you to get experience living in the nation's capital, attending a seminar, and doing an internship. Think broadly about the type of internship that you might like to do. Maybe you do have an interest in education policy, or you have an interest in the environment, or you have an interest in working on the Hill. I encourage you to apply to a variety of different positions. Don't solely focus your opportunities on a particular sector or a particular area of interest that you have. And finally, when it comes to those career conversations that you are definitely going to be engaging in, you will need to follow up with the people that you reach out to. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the networking subject. So again, any questions that you may have, pop them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. Wanted to point out this particular resource, and I'm actually going to share my screen to show it to you. So just give me a minute here. So here we have, if my screen sharing will work. Okay. Can I get a thumbs up that you are seeing the Davidson in Washington internship guide? Thank you, Garrett. Okay. Many of the resources that I'm going to be talking about today can all be found in this particular guide. This is a Google Doc that has been put together for you, so I encourage you to bookmark it. When we are talking about information about resumes and cover letters, all of the tools that you're going to need when you are applying, when we talk about managing your internship search, here's the link to that spreadsheet again. Online resources, etc. All of that information is really handy and found right here in this document. So I encourage you to bookmark it because many of the resources that I will be talking about, you're going to find in that particular document. But just to do some highlighting of some of the resources that are available to you when you are doing an online search. This right here, and again, these are all hyperlinked. This first bullet point is a list of previous Davidson and Washington internship sites, and it's pretty mammoth. This is simply an ongoing list of internship sites that previous students have done internships with when in Davidson and Washington. So you can see it is literally an A to Z listing. You can search by filter to see if you are looking for, a lobbying or a professional association, a think tank, a nonprofit. If the website for the organization has a specific link to their internship information, it is going to be listed here. If they have a handshake employer profile, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, it is going to be listed here. So if you're looking for, again, that's a question I get, where have previous Davidson and Washington students done internships? You're going to find that information here. The other resource that I want to show you, and again, I encourage you to bookmark it. Can I see a thumbs up that you are seeing the government and policy guide on Handshake? Thank you, Greg. Okay, so the government and policy guide, this is a specific resource that is found through the Matthews Center Resources main website. So again, it is a Google Doc. I encourage you to bookmark it. There is a lot of information in here. Broken down in terms of different branches of government. And you will see, I have some highlighted here where many students have found themselves looking for opportunities. You'll see for the legislative branch and then also for additional. So these are particular resources to find information about internship opportunities. Like to point out Traverse Jobs, this is a new resource that is available for Davidson students. There is a subscription cost, but for Davidson students using this username and this password, it is free to you. This is a website that has full-time and internship opportunities in a variety of different areas on the Hill, think tanks, lobbying organizations, nonprofits, etc. So a great resource to look at. If you are interested in possibly doing an internship with a think tank or a policy research organization, all of these particular resources can help, but I find that this list from the Harvard Kennedy School and then also this other list of think tanks and NGOs doesn't have the specific internship positions, but will have a list of organizations that you can look up. I also want to encourage you, and now I'm going to head back to our presentation. I want to encourage you to look up in Handshake. You will start to see positions posted in Handshake anywhere between starting now and into the spring semester for summer positions. Couple of different tips when it comes to searching for Handshake, or searching in Handshake, I should say. So let me hop in Handshake here, and I'm going to switch so it actually looks like the student account that you are all used to seeing. So a couple of tips when it comes to looking for internship opportunities in Handshake. You can, under the jobs section, you can set up job alerts so that Handshake will send you emails when an internship has posted in the portal that meets whatever filters you have set up. So perhaps you might be interested in summer. That might be a great one to look for now because they're posting spring and summer internships. You know that you are interested in Washington, D.C. I would probably go no further out than perhaps like, we'll go 15 miles because that tends to be the metro. And then you also know that you're looking for an internship. Okay, and so you'll see here in this corner where it says, don't miss out, save your search. I'm going to click on that hyperlink, save your search, and you'll see pop up down here in the bottom, created a job alert. I have now created a job alert that whenever an internship in Washington, D.C. for the summer is posted in Handshake, I'm going to get an email letting me know about that. As we get closer to the spring semester, you can start to finesse this a little bit. Perhaps you want to look for a policy internship. Right now, there's going to be a lot of opportunities that are for spring, but those will start to weed out and you will find summer positions as it gets into the spring semester. Another suggestion that I offer to you is to look up employers who would fit the qualifications for possibly, very likely, having an internship that fits the criteria for Davidson and Washington. So we're going to hop over here to the employers section. So these are all of the employers that are listed in Handshake. We're going to scroll down to this section where it says labels. One of the labels that has been added is one that says Davidson and Washington option. And we'll see if it wants to work for us. There we go. So all of these organizations that you are seeing listed here, and many of them you may recognize from that spreadsheet of previous hosts for Davidson and Washington interns, they have been labeled with that particular label, Davidson and Washington option, or DIW. So you can search for these particular organizations. If there are ones that are of interest to you, you can select to follow so that you can keep checking back to see if they are posting an internship in Handshake. So that helps make Handshake a little bit more manageable when it comes to searching for particular positions. Okay, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, yes, Nina, you were mentioning if we could have the links dropped in the chat. These links are hyperlinked, so I will be sending out this copy of this slide deck to everybody who attends tonight. So you will have the slide deck with all of the hyperlinks there. Next resource that I want to go to is LinkedIn. If you do not have a LinkedIn account, you will need to set up a LinkedIn profile to help you do your internship search. If you have a LinkedIn profile but haven't really had a chance to use LinkedIn yet, it's time to become more familiar with the tool that you signed up for. And so this isn't just for Davidson and Washington, although it's specific to the topic tonight. LinkedIn is a tool that you will be using for professional development throughout your career path. So I encourage you to take time to develop or create your LinkedIn profile and become accustomed to using that particular tool. We'll talk about it a little bit later with respect to networking. But right now, I want to show you how, just like in Handshake, you can set up saved searches for jobs or internships within LinkedIn. So if we go to LinkedIn and we see the particular job postings, we can look in this particular search. So perhaps we might type in policy. Again, that's very general. We're going to put in the location, Washington, D.C. And you can see here, you can put in experience level. I would select internship. Date posted, I always recommend within the past week because positions on LinkedIn are constantly being posted. And so I recommend within the past week to keep it most updated. So we can see 31 results right now for internships in Washington, D.C. that have some aspect of policy. And so again, that's very broad, which is showing a wide variety of opportunities. You can set that alert so that you will receive an email letting you know whenever policy internships in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area are posted. Another tip about LinkedIn, when you see actively recruiting, this means that this particular position was not posted by a database. It's not being screened using an applicant tracking system. Ones that say actively recruiting, those are people who have posted that position and are accepting applications right now. If you see a particular position where it has the Davidson College logo and one company alum works here, that could be an interesting opportunity for a possible networking connection. So again, that's something to keep in mind. So great ways that you can use LinkedIn to find particular positions. And then I know it sounds really common sense, but don't underestimate the power of Google. Many times when I have been sitting with students who are talking about a particular interest in an internship, we will put in that particular topic, pair it with the word internship. You add Washington, D.C., and you're going to find a list of particular organizations that may be offering such internships. Education policy internships in Washington, D.C., environmental policy organizations in Washington, D.C. can be a great way to start building your list of possible internships to apply to or organizations to keep your eye on for internship postings that may come about. Okay, I want to transition now to networking. Networking is that icky term that people oftentimes do not find themselves liking. I want people to put in the chat really quickly here. When you think of networking, what's a description that comes to mind? Just go ahead and type in some words quickly. What do we think? What is networking? Asking questions, okay. Connections, uncomfortable, awkward. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. It's awkward, it's icky, it's like building relationships, but how do I do that with people that I don't know? Taking advantage of relationships. Yes, these are all like what I was looking for, because this is what people will oftentimes think of. And even me to some extent, like oftentimes I'll do presentations about networking and I will call it networking icky, but important, because it does make a lot of people feel uncomfortable, but it is so important when it comes to your professional development. So we need to get past that icky part. All right. So what I encourage people to think of, let's ditch the word networking. I think networking makes it sound really official. I think networking makes it sound really kind of superficial and just this professional thing that I have to do. I encourage you to think of them as career conversations, because everybody has conversations every day with other people. And you are simply embarking on having a conversation with somebody about their career path. So if you look at it in the sense of it's something that I would like to learn from you, people are very oftentimes willing to share about their professional development, especially if it's something that they really enjoy doing. Number two, They're also going to be asking questions about you. So it is a conversation. It's not you using this person to get something from them. It's you engaging in conversation, you asking questions of them about their professional development, and them asking questions about you and what your career interests are, why you're studying your particular major or planning to study your particular major, why Davidson, why are you interested in this program? So that's a conversation. And it's a conversation that shares that similarity of having these interests in policy, government, nonprofits, etc. The third thing to remember is that anybody that you're engaging in a career conversation with, they have been in your shoes. They have been the student who is seeking to learn information. They've been the young professional who is seeking to continue learning information. And so I really encourage you to start becoming comfortable with the idea of reaching out to someone to have a career conversation with them. It may not ever be completely comfortable, but I guarantee you that when you have the opportunity to engage in just one particular conversation and then maybe another, it's going to become less uncomfortable for you. The reasons why to have these career conversations is right here we see the iceberg. So this part of the iceberg that you see on top of the water, those are the positions or the opportunities that you will find or learn about through all of those online resources that are listed in various programs and that I was showing you about. But it's all of this amazing opportunities underneath the water that you may never know about unless you have that career conversation with somebody. You can discover other organizations that you may not ever have known about. You can learn from those who are walking in a career path that might interest you. And so then you become more than just a resume. So as I was showing before, if you see a particular position that is listed at an organization, and if a Davidson alum or somebody you know perhaps works there, reaching out to them to show interest in their organization, you're now no longer just one of hundreds of resumes that they may receive. You're a student at their alma mater. You're the son or daughter of a friend of theirs who is interested in their organization, and they may be very willing to help you along with that. So when it comes to networking, how do you find people? And then what resources can you use? So again, anything that is underlined here is going to be hyperlinked. Where to find people, I always encourage you to start with the warm and fuzzy contacts. And some people may say, I don't know anybody who lives in DC. I don't know anybody who works in government. Fill in the blank in terms of, what's you think may be keeping you from connecting with others. And I encourage you to start talking with people and sharing with people that you are interested in doing a summer internship in Washington, D.C. Share it with peers here at Davidson, share it with your faculty, share it with your holistic advisor or your faculty advisor. If you're a scholar athlete, share it with your teammates, share it with your coach, share it with your friends of family and family of friends. You never know who knows somebody who might be able to have a career conversation with you. And people can't know that you're doing an internship search or can't know that you're going to be looking for opportunities in Washington, D.C. until you tell them. LinkedIn and Davidson Connect are fabulous resources for finding alums who work in organizations of interest or work in professional paths of interest. Again, I'm going to take time to show my screen. So let's go back to here we are on LinkedIn. Really quickly going to show you if we go to the Davidson College LinkedIn page and click down here to look at alumni. And alumni is a little bit skewed because this is both alums as well as current students, but there are almost 19,000 Davidson alums and students who are on LinkedIn. And you can search for them perhaps by where they live. So again, if we look Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, You can search by where they work. So if you maybe were interested in connecting with an alum who works at the State Department or the House of Representatives, Department of Justice, you can look and scroll forward to see what they do. So if you're interested in someone who does media or legal, etc., I kind of tend to be a search box kind of person. And so using quotes, I like to look, and again, I'm keeping it very general. If I look for policy, here we have over 300 alums who at some point, it may be current or it might be previously, but at some point, their LinkedIn profile indicates that they are involved in some capacity with policy. How can LinkedIn be a gold mine for you to find people? So if you click on somebody's particular profile and you scroll through, not only am I interested in perhaps where they are currently working, but I'm also interested in learning about previous positions, previous organizations where they have worked, because this is how I can start to build information and build my network. So if Isabel's background looks interesting to me, and Isabel has met with many Davidson students before, if Isabel's background looks interesting to me, then I am going to connect with Isabel and reach out to see about having a career conversation with her. And again, the key is you're not looking for Isabel to find an internship for you. You're not looking for Isabel to send your resume to somebody about an internship. You are asking Isabel and literally asking in that outreach, I'm very interested in your background. I'm wondering if we could schedule 20 to 30 minutes that I could talk with you over the phone or virtually to ask you and talk to you about your background. Because this is where you can find out information about these different organizations and about the different positions that Isabel has worked in. And a great question to ask of somebody when you have that career conversation is, do you know of other people whom I could speak with? And this is where you can show that you've done your research to prepare for that conversation. If you're having a conversation with Isabel, perhaps you might mention, I see that at one point you were employed at the Aspen Institute. I'm really interested in that organization. Would you know of people there whom I might be able to speak with? And that's how you build your network. In answer to a concern that some people have, that they feel like that they are taking advantage of people or that they're using people whenever they are networking, another key question to ask somebody whom you have had a conversation with is, what is the best way to keep in touch with you? What's your preferred way of communication? Do they want to continue to message through LinkedIn? Are they open to receiving an email from you? Confirm which way that they like to be communicated with, and then keep in touch with that person. So if Isabel recommends a colleague at the Aspen Institute and you reach out to that colleague at the Aspen Institute who you are now going to have a career conversation with, be sure to get back in touch with Isabel to thank her for that reference. She'll appreciate that. When you find an internship, everybody that you have had a conversation with along the way, be sure to let them know about the internship that you secure and thank them for their help in letting you learn more. After your internship or during your time in DC, be sure to reach out to everybody to let them know what your experience was like. This is how you show that your interactions with them are genuine and appreciated. And so can kind of help get rid of that awkward, I feel like I'm just using them aspect when it comes to networking. Okay, so let's go back to our slide, resources to help you along the way. Before I get to that, Davidson Connect, be mindful of time. I'm not going to hop on there. Davidson Connect is an online platform that's the specific purpose is to connect Davidson alums with other alums as well as students. There is a mentoring section to Davidson Connect where alums have volunteered to be career resources for Davidson students. I can say honestly, I have not met a Davidson alum who isn't willing to be a career resource. So I encourage you to reach out to all Davidson alums through LinkedIn. But if you're looking for alums who have specifically volunteered to be a mentor, you can find them through Davidson Connect. The next question that I get from students regarding networking is, how do I do it? How do I find people? How do I use LinkedIn to find people in the alumni section? How do I set up the conversation? What questions do I ask, etc.? All of these resources that are listed here, and again, hyperlinked, can help you through that. These first three resources are actually video series. So in each of these resources, there are about 4 to 5 videos that are each 3 to 4 minutes in length. So you don't have to watch them all at once, but walks you through how do you find people, walks you through what do you say in an email outreach to them, what questions to ask, and how to follow up. The LinkedIn guide, again, a series of videos that can help you either start that LinkedIn profile or make that LinkedIn profile more marketable, and can help you find alums and search for particular opportunities. And the networking guide has all sorts of different resources for you. Everything from email templates that you can edit and craft to fit your specifics to help initiate that outreach to somebody for a conversation, and a list of questions that you can consider asking them. So lots of great resources there. And again, if anybody has any questions, please just put them in the chat. Want to switch now to talking about funding resources. There is an unfortunate reality that internships are not always paid well, and sometimes are not paid at all. And I wish that more organizations would understand that internship payment is necessary. But in the meantime, I want to make you aware of different resources with our office and across campus to help you find particular funding that can offset the costs that you might accrue in doing Davidson in Washington. Our office, the Matthews Center, offers a summer internship grant program. And this is for people who are applying to positions that are either unpaid or low paying. Low paying internship means that the wages or other sources of funding that you may receive is less than the equivalent of $6,000. You can find information about the Matthews Center internship grants at this particular link. The applications for the summer internship grant program will not take place until the spring semester. I do not have specific dates yet because they haven't been set, but typically there are 2 application deadlines, one in late February and one in early April. I want to reiterate to everybody that you do not have to have an internship secured in order to apply for funding. If you are in the process of interviewing for an internship and you haven't heard yet if you have been offered, you can still apply for a summer internship grant through the Matthews Center. If you are in the process, if you have received an offer, but you are also perhaps waiting on another offer, internship that you interviewed for to receive, you can also apply for an internship grant. If you are awarded the grant and adjustments need to be made after the fact, that can be done. This link here is to other campus funding resources. There are other departments and organizations on campus that also offer funding resources. And this will have the information about what those resources their funding can be used for. So you'll search for ones that can be used for summer internships and when their possible deadlines are. You are able to apply to multiple sources of funding. So you can apply to the Matthews Center summer internship grants along with other grant funding sources on campus. In addition to searching for your internship, you will be responsible for searching for your summer housing as part of the Davidson and Washington program. There is no set housing that all Davidson and Washington participants stay in. So I have here a list of particular resources to be using. This first slide is for colleges and universities in the DC area that open up their residence halls during the summer for interns to stay at. Many students who are participating in the Davidson and Washington program will stay at George Washington University's summer housing. That is typically where the program seminars are held. They are held at classrooms at George Washington. And George Washington is also located very centrally in the district and also easily metro accessible. However, all of these particular institutions do offer summer housing. So this is a resource to find summer housing options at colleges or universities. We have had students who have also stayed, I guess you could call, off campus. And so this is a resource page for looking for particular housing opportunities that are not at a college or university. I will offer a tip. I list Airbnb here because I know that many students have used it. I also caution about that. I do know students who have used Airbnb to secure a place to live, and then at the last minute, that host for the Airbnb has had to cancel that reservation and students have found themselves stuck. So I just say be really cautious about that. You can see information here about renting, apartments or subletting in the summer. There are organizations that will offer student housing for people who are staying in DC for the summer. And so these can be resources. You can also, when you are having conversations with Davidson alums, inquire about opportunities or resources that they may know. For those who might be a little bit older like me, I encourage you to ask your parents or you yourself, like hop on Facebook. I have seen many particular Facebook groups, Washington, DC sublets, or insert the name of a college and put in the word sublet. So for example, Georgetown, George Washington, American. There are students who are living off-campus apartments who attend those particular institutions who are going to be looking for somebody to live in their apartment during the summer when they are not there. So that can be a great resource to find particular options. Again, I reiterate and encourage you to keep in mind the location of the apartment that you are looking, especially if you are looking off campus. Be mindful of neighborhoods and safety. Be mindful of the location in relation to your seminar, which is going to be at George Washington University, and any internships that you may be considering. Access to public transportation is going to be really important. How can our office help you with whatever questions that you may have? The reason why we are having this particular seminar tonight and not after the November 10th deadline is I am really trying to reiterate to students who are interested in Davidson and Washington, start doing your internship search now. Start getting ready for your internship search now. Many positions in which you may be interested in, their deadlines may be before the deadline for the program, or they may be after the deadline, but before you find out if you are accepted into the program. Many positions will have deadlines that are early in the spring semester, January, February. And so I encourage you to think of it as I am searching for an internship that I'm really interested in doing. And if I happen to get into Davidson and Washington, then that is a bonus that is going to come together. But getting back to how our office can assist you, you are going to need resumes and cover letters to send out to your internship applications, and we can assist with that. You are going to have interviews for the internships. And for many of you, this may be your first, quote, professional interview. And that is something that we can also help with. I encourage you to take advantage of mock interviews that we offer in our office. That is where you would sit down with a career advisor virtually or in person. And perhaps virtually might be the best approach because that is quite likely how all of your internship interviews are going to be held. And you can practice that interview in a safe setting and receive feedback and tips about how to best perform in that interview. We can help with LinkedIn. If you are either just starting with LinkedIn or you're on LinkedIn and you want to learn more, everything from reviewing your profile to making sure that it's putting you in the best view, tips on how to utilize it, we can assist with that. You can certainly schedule an appointment with me, but I will say that there's only one of me and there's a lot of you. So scheduling an appointment, it can take a bit of time. I encourage you to take advantage of the drop-in advising. We offer drop-in advising on Mondays and Wednesdays all day, Tuesday afternoons, and then Thursday, pretty much all day. It just starts a little bit later at 9:15. If you want to meet with me, my drop-in advising for this semester, the remaining of this semester, is Thursday mornings. I would love to meet with you. Come by and say hi and introduce yourself. But also know that for questions about resumes and cover letters, for questions about LinkedIn, any one of my colleagues can assist you with that, who are also covering drop-in advising on the other days. Okay, and I just want to give some final thoughts. And again, for those who may have joined late, if you can scan that QR code to register for attending this particular program. If for whatever reason the QR code is not working, just please put your email address in the chat so that I have it, that I can send this slide deck and a recording of tonight's program to you. I know that we just got back from fall break. I know many of you are having midterms, and before we know it, I know that final exams are coming around the corner. And for any first-year students in the audience, your first final exams, I understand the stress that can come with that. I encourage you to look at these particular to-dos that you can possibly tackle over the next few weeks. Review your resume with a career advisor. That's a quick drop-in appointment that you can have. Begin using LinkedIn. Browse the Davidson and Washington Internship Guide, which is that Google Doc that I showed all of you. Set up a Davidson Connect account. I want you to let people know that you're looking for an internship. And again, remember that applying for the program, the application deadline is November 10th at 5 p.m. If you want to meet with me, again, that is when my drop-ins take place every Thursday morning, or you can also schedule an appointment via handshake, virtual, or in person. Okay, I am stopping sharing my screen. That is the information that I have for all of you. I'm excited to work with you. I can say that the Davidson and Washington program is a fantastic experience for students who have participated in it. The more that you can make internship searching a part of your routine, the less stressful that it's going to be. I'm not saying that it's going to be completely stress-free, but it will be less stressful if you don't wait until the last minute or say that you will take care of the internship search when you, quote, finish with all of your other things, because I think we know how busy schedules can get. Please reach out to me via email. Please stop in to see me for drop-ins. Again, if you have any questions and you want to drop them in the chat, or I'll allow some time here if anybody has questions that they want to ask out loud. Nobody has questions. All right, there is a new message. Okay, good question here. If an internship has an age requirement and I'm below the age requirement, but I'm a good fit for the job, should I not apply because I'm not old enough? That's a good question. I think it depends on the type of position that is involved. There may be some positions that for legality reasons, it needs to be that you have to be a certain age. Just like you will encounter, there are going to be some particular positions where citizenship is going to be a requirement. My thought, however, is if you don't apply to a position, you already know what the answer is going to be. So if you see a position that you think that you may be a really good fit for, why not go ahead and try it? Now, if there is a requirement such as age that may put you out of the running, perhaps that's not one that I spend a lot of time on, or perhaps that is one that I try to have a conversation with somebody who is working in the organization to learn more about the internship, to learn more about why they have that age requirement. So it might take a little bit more navigating, but I say, why not go for it? But that's a good question. Any other questions about networking or resumes or cover letters? Okay. All right. Well, I will give you 7 minutes back for your evening. Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight. Just an FYI, we're having the same program next Tuesday, the 31st, during Common Hour that will be live in person on campus. Some people were asking if they have to attend both sessions. Is it different information? It's not. I'll be covering the same information that I covered tonight. So if for whatever reason you just found it so interesting that you want to hear it again, please join us. Otherwise, you will have the information that I'll email it to you probably Wednesday. Tomorrow we have an all-day event for graduating seniors, so I may not get to it tomorrow, but I will get it sent out to everybody. So I hope everyone has a good evening. Thanks so much for attending. Bye-bye.